Chapter 2109, The King Returns. Yang Xinxin looked at Zhang Yi with a deep smile on her lips. There's one more place? Zhang Yi rubbed his chin. Where? Are you talking about Britannia? King Arthur's team was also made up of elite soldiers, and King Arthur was a member of the pupil organization, so he had no conflict with them. But after they parted last time, King Arthur and the others went to the secret realm of Atlantis. He didn't know if they would encounter the Atlanteans deep in the sea. Now there was definitely no way for them to come back and help. Brother, that San Yuan tribe hasn't been completely destroyed yet. Yang Xinxin reminded him with a gloomy look. Zhang Yi suddenly raised his head. Are you talking about Loridek? Demon god Jiao Loridek. The last surviving warrior of the entire San Yuan tribe. Except for him, all the other demon gods had been killed in battle, including their king. Unfortunately, only a few people knew about Ichigard's death. Loridek still believed that Ichigard was still in Tianyu Palace and had not appeared, so he remained steadfast in the Chernobyl wasteland. Loridek's armor should be second only to Ichigard's. Based on the previous battle, his overall strength should be around 40,000 points. With my current strength and your help, it won't be difficult to take him down. But will doing so be of much help in attacking the Wulwan Empire? At this moment, Loridek was like a neutral creature, temporarily posing no threat to anyone. But no one would protect him either. Zhang Yi had no problem taking him out. But was there any point in doing so? Yang Xinxin smiled and asked, have you forgotten what Ling said to you? Zhang Yi frowned and thought for a moment, quickly remembering what Ling had said not long ago. This planet has existed for 4.6 billion years and has undergone 6 generations of intelligent species and countless races mining it. The previous generations have mined as much usable energy as possible, leaving less and less behind. So, if you want to know who has control of those energy deposits, then go ask the ancient people. Zhang Yi suddenly understood. You mean that the Tang-era civilization must still have a large amount of resources in its hands? Yang Xinxin raised her coffee cup towards him. She liked to add a few extra sugar cubes to her coffee because people who use their brains a lot need to replenish their sugar levels. The mechanical legion we saw requires a terrifying amount of energy to operate. Even if we exhausted all the energy currently mined in the Huashu Kingdom, it would be almost impossible to reach that level. I have reason to believe that a monarch who is determined to rebuild his kingdom would not exhaust all of his resources. Therefore, the Tang-era must still have their headquarters. That's where we want to go. Zhang Yi nodded. He agreed with Yang Xinxin's opinion. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go and get everything from the Tang-era. Zhang Yi immediately prepared to take action. Loridek was alone, but he did not decide to rush there. As usual, he first checked all the weapons and equipment on his body to ensure that he could unleash 100% of his combat power. Then, Zhang Yi began to assign tasks. Flower, Xinxin, Teacher Liang, and Fatty Su, come with me. Uncle Yu, you and the others stay behind and protect this place. If anything happens, contact Deng Shintong directly. Don't disturb Karen, she needs to concentrate on her work. Zhang Yi took away 4 of his generals in one breath. We must fight quickly and decisively, otherwise if we make too much noise, we will definitely attract the attention of the Fremons. I don't want to deal with those old farts again. Zhang Yi was referring to Perdaja and the others. Once they discover that we are in Chernobyl, they may come over to get a piece of the pie. Yang Xinxin said, with so many of us, it won't be difficult to fight quickly and decisively. In fact, with Zhang Yi's current strength, he could easily take on Loridek by himself. However, well, that was how he always did things. Zhang Yi led everyone and shuttled directly to the Fremon space. Chernobyl had once again become a no-man's land within the territory of the Fremons. Due to the existence of Loridek, the upper echelons of the Fremons did not dare to let anyone approach this place to avoid angering Loridek. At least for now, the highest level combatant of the Fremons, the winter goddess Morana, was still unable to deal with this big trouble. I'll just treat this as doing a good deed. Zhang Yi thought jokingly. When he arrived at Chernobyl, the huge battlefield had been turned into a black wasteland. During the battle, the altitude here had been knocked down by tens of meters, and the dark soil had been turned over, but now it had been covered by snow again. There were still many damaged mechanical life forms on the ground. Stepping onto the edge of this land, Zhang Yi calculated the distance and found that it was more than 30 kilometers away from the space node where Tianyu Palace had appeared. Now let's formulate a battle plan. Not only do we have to take him down, but it's best to do it quickly and without damage. He looked at Yang Xinxin. Xinxin, your arrows are the key. Ichigard is dead, and we have to pry the information out of him to find out where the legacy of the Tsang era is. Yang Xinxin nodded. So, the group began to move. It had only been a month since Chernobyl's desolate abyss, but now it was once again covered in snow, and everything was white. There were human bones and mechanical debris. Right next to the abyss, two huge swords were stuck in the ground. Behind the swords stood a stone monument 5 or 6 meters high, covered with snow and motionless. Loridek had been waiting here for a long time, in a state of readiness. His mechanical body was not afraid of the cold, but although his body was cold, his heart was burning. He firmly believed that his king, Ichigard, had obtained the treasure of the Yihan tribe. As long as he waited for his king to return, the Tsang era could be restored to its former glory, and they would be able to find the right path to true immortality. My king, you must have obtained that incredible treasure. But when will you return? Your people and I are all waiting for your return. Loridek silently prayed in his heart. But in the next moment, his eyes suddenly flashed with excitement. In the distance, a black figure was slowly walking toward him, braving the wind and snow. His armor was pitch black and imposing, and his 6 red wings seemed as if they would pierce the sky. King! You're back. Chapter 21:10. I will take everything of the Tsang tribe. The king of the Tsang tribe, Ichigard, had returned. He stood in front of Loridek and walked towards him step by step. Loridek suddenly felt that something was wrong. Although the person in front of him looked no different from his king, even the armor had a familiar texture. But something was wrong. A person's appearance can be disguised, but their temperament cannot be disguised, nor can their gait. You! Just as he was about to say something, a familiar voice reached his ears. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Loridek. Ichigard's voice caused a thin mist to instantly cover Loridek's cold eyes. Was the long wait finally coming to an end? The slight feeling of unease he had felt at first was washed away by the excitement of seeing his long-lost king again. However, the person in front of him couldn't possibly be Ichigard. It was Zhang Yi disguised as Ichigard. The demon god armor itself was based on Ichigard's royal armor, so it was very easy to imitate. As for the voice, well, a little bit of high technology could take care of that. It was enough to drive Loridek, who had waited for so many years and just lost his guard when he saw hope, crazy. Zhang Yi walked to the area in front of Loridek. He was now within his optimal attack range. In the next moment, time and space froze. The skilled blink in the sky was activated. In the instant that time and space froze, Zhang Yi appeared in front of Loridek and slashed with his demon sword. Even in the face of the king's weapon, the indestructible armor was very fragile. His limbs were immediately slashed off. A moment later, Loridek, who was still immersed in the excitement of the rise of the Tsang tribe, suddenly felt his body rapidly lose its balance. His arms broke free from the machine's control, and even his upper body quickly fell backward. What's going on? Why? Can't I feel my limbs? Is it because I'm too excited to see the king? The sudden change left Loridek's human brain a little stunned. Yang Xinxin had already emerged from Zhang Yi's shadow. When he saw the girl in black armor with eyes as deep as obsidian, Loridek remembered who she was. She was one of the last 2 humans to leave Tianyu Palace. If it was her, then who was the person standing in front of him, wearing the same battle armor as Ichigard? Loridek's mind was in complete chaos, as if he had been struck by thunder. Perhaps he had already figured out the answer, but after waiting for so many years, seeing his dream of countless years about to come true, he discovered at the last moment that his so-called dream had turned into the deepest despair. Such a shocking change was instinctively difficult for the human brain to accept. The fallen angel puppet was attached to Yang Xinxin's back, and the huge bow of judgment was in her palm, held and pulled back by the fallen angel puppet. A long black arrow was placed on it. Whoosh! The black arrow broke through the air, pointing straight at Loridek's unbalanced body. Although Loridek was stunned, his instinct to fight back was still there. He struggled to control his limbless body and tried to escape. But a clattering sound immediately came from all directions. Black chains, formed from vines of divine refinement, shot out from Zhang Yi's arms and quickly wrapped around Loridek's body. Now, Zhang Yi's strength alone was no less than Loridek's, not to mention the help of the demon god's armor. Moreover, Loridek was at his most confused and desperate, so it was easy to restrain him. Yang Xinxin's black arrow shot straight into his chest. In the next moment, the confusion and deep despair in his eyes disappeared. "Greetings, my master." He bowed his head and said to Yang Xinxin. Zhang Yi let out a long breath. "Good, everything is perfectly resolved." Flower, Lian Yu, and the others were standing nearby, ready to assist at any moment, but they didn't expect things to end so quickly. However, they didn't complain, because things were unpredictable, and Zhang Yi had only prepared for the worst. Zhang Yi put away Loridek's limbs and didn't attach them back for the time being, lest he suddenly lose control. Yang Xinxin asked, "Does the Tsangyuan tribe still have any supplies in stock?" Loridek nodded. "There are still some. Among them are a large submarine aircraft carrier and tens of thousands of mechanical life forms. The other resources are all on the aircraft carrier, which will be used by the Tsangyuan tribe when they return to land in the future." Yang Xinxin asked again, "Besides that, do you have any other resources? For example, high-purity energy ore. Also, where did you get that red energy crystal, the source of your energy?" Loridek replied, "We do know of 2 deposits of energy ore. As for the red energy crystal, it is called the Heart of Purgatory, which we created by purifying energy artificially." Zhang Yi couldn't wait to say, "Take us there right now. From today onwards, everything belonging to the Tsangyuan tribe will be mine." Loridek glanced coldly at Zhang Yi, his eyes flashing with murderous intent. Yang Xinxin had changed his perception, making him sincerely want to be Yang Xinxin's dog, but that wouldn't change his memories or his views of others. So now, he still wanted to kill Zhang Yi. "Can I ask you a question, human?" Loridek looked at Zhang Yi and said. Zhang Yi touched the nose of his rabid dog helmet and let his hands hang down naturally. "Go ahead." "How is our king?" Zhang Yi pointed at Yang Xinxin and said, "Now there are 2 of us standing in front of you, how do you think he is?" After hearing the news of Ichigard's death with his own ears, Loridek's eyes revealed indescribable grief. His sadness was not only because of Ichigard, but also because of the despair he felt at the Tsangyuan tribe's return to the continent and its renewed vitality. After long years of struggling and waiting, this was the result. He closed his eyes and didn't open them for a long time. Perhaps this is the fate of our Tsangyuan tribe. 6th generation of humans, you were born in accordance with history, so it is destined that we ancient humans will be destroyed by you. Loridek led Zhang Yi and the others to the Tsangyuan tribe's lair. Their base was underground, thousands of meters deep beneath the polar ice cap near the Arctic Circle. Zhang Yi and the others arrived at a huge natural cave. The sky here was bright, enveloped by a special luminous gas, so there was no need for lighting, and it looked as bright as daytime.